But first at 6, President Joe Biden makes a historic visit to the picket lines just outside Detroit, Michigan, standing in solidarity with the United Auto Workers.
Deserve what you've earned, and you've earned a hell of a lot more than you're getting paid now.
UAW workers initially walked off the job at 3 facilities, one for each of the big 3, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis.
But last week, the union expanded the strike at GM and Stellantis locations, 38 locations in fact, across 20 states. Ford plants were not part of that expansion, as the UAW says the company is active in negotiations.
Right now, the UAW's demands remain the same: double-digit pay increases, elimination of the 2-tier wage system, restoring cost of living pay, reestablishing retiree health coverage, and a 32-hour work week.
Today we spoke with leaders at UAW Local 31 here in the Metro, who say the president's visit takes on a deeper meaning.
He's always been a friend of labor. Not only he talks the talk, but he's actually walking the walk. He showed up.
We will hear much more from the local union chapter in just a moment. But first, we begin our coverage with Scripps political correspondent Joe St. George.
He explains how the showing of support is sitting with union members currently on strike.
President Joe Biden wrapping up a historic visit to Metro Detroit on Tuesday, the first sitting president to ever visit a picket line.
You guys, the UAW, you saved the automobile industry back in 2008 and before. Made a lot of sacrifices.
The president stopping at Willow Run Redistribution Plant, which has been on strike since last week. About 200 employees or so work there. As a reminder, more than 20 states are now impacted by the strike, and more than 18,000 workers. The strike could expand, though, if the UAW doesn't feel their needs are being met. There are more than 140,000 UAW workers nationally.
Gave up a lot, and the companies were in trouble. But now they're doing incredibly well. And guess what? You should be doing incredibly well, too.
Here at the picket line, we spoke with auto workers on strike about what this presidential visit means to them.
That means a lot to me because just the fact that, you know, not only is he just coming out here just to do a photo op, but him actually walking with us, which, you know, some people may see it as a photo op, but I see it as a sign of support.
What would you like President Biden to do following his visit here to Detroit?
Well, as I was saying previously, I don't think that as far as direct action, it's going to really make much of a difference. I think that his visit will create a bit of a pressure on the auto companies in general to do better, probably process this a little bit faster, get ratified a lot faster.
Now all eyes shift to former President Donald Trump. He will be counter-programming the second presidential debate on the Republican side with an event of his own here in Michigan, speaking to union workers on Wednesday night, electing not to go to that second presidential debate. As a reminder, the UAW, an influential voting bloc in the state of Michigan and in the Midwest, they have not endorsed a candidate in the 2024 presidential election. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Wayne County, Michigan.
The local GM plant in KCK remains idled. That's directly impacting the thousands of UAW employees right here in the Kansas City Metro. Our plant relies on the parts made at the GM plant in Wentzville, Missouri. But because those workers are still on strike, the KCK plant can't make cars. KSHP 41 News reporter Leslie Delaspore spoke with leaders of UAW Local 31, all to find out what's next for its members and how they view Biden's trip to Michigan.
We're ready to come off the bench, play our part.
UAW Local 31 says they are ready to strike.
You know, we're not asking the company for anything outrageous. We're just asking them for our worth.
Vice President Tony Pryor says over 1,000 workers at the GM Fairfax plant are not working right now. General Motors idled the facility last week due to a part shortage following the strike at the Wentzville, Missouri plant. But workers at Fairfax are getting paid as they organize to have their demands met.
Inflation is through the roof, so we're not asking the corporations for any money. We took concessions, so all we're trying to do is get back what we're lost and keep up with inflation and move in that manner.
Tuesday, President Biden stepped out on the picket line with workers in Michigan, something Pryor says is symbolic and sends a message.
We've had record profit years after years after years. So the question comes to where is that money being invested? Where is it going? We're not trying to bring other companies down. We get what we need and we'll organize and bring those companies up to where we are.
Now going into week 2 of the nationwide strike against the big 3 auto manufacturers, Pryor says he hopes an agreement will soon be met.
We manufacture cars and everybody needs that. So we look forward to all the new innovations that's coming along. The UAW is bargaining and negotiating on being a part of that transition.
In Kansas City, Kansas, Leslie Delasport, KSHB 41 News.